Hi, all, and welcome to Monday Night's All Meta Mode podcast with Gypsy and myself, Amanda Digger-DeGaz. I have no announcements tonight, so we're going to get right into it. Hey, Gypsy, how are you?
I am doing fabulous. How are you?
I am
It's been a
good.
long day. I have not stopped today. But anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's talk about you for a while.
All right. Um,
Tell me about your week. I know you were able to get out a little. So were you able to get out and go metal detecting or mudlarking, that kind of thing?
all of the above. So
Oh,
I've still been working the excavation site, and one of my other permissions, they're clear cutting right now, and it's by an old church and where the picnics used to be and everything like that. They're going to end up excavating. So basically, I'm doing this top layer because
hmm.
they clear cut. There's the brickers and the briar bushes. There was no like getting into when they were there.
Hmm.
So now it's actually cut all the way back to the stone wall. And I think next year, or I need to get back with him, but they're going to be excavating and building in this section. And we have found awesome things in the past in front of where that area is, so I can't wait. But I ended up finding a ring and an ox knob, and
Ooh.
sadly, the briars, and it's not too far from the street, so it just picks up all the trash that gets blown in the wind and tossed out the
Yeah.
windows. So, yeah, the amount of trash I cleared out of there was pretty crazy. And then,
Really?
yeah, absolutely. It
A
seemed to
lot
have
of pull tabs and stuff,
like
or what kind of trash?
foil, like tin foil, cans, bottle caps, things like that. Like anything that could have blown in the wind, like if a trash bag got broken open or anything like that, it would catch anything that would blow. Plus, it's not too far from where they plow. So they'd take everything and push it right into the grass into this area. So,
Ah.
yeah, double whammy on the trash. So,
So are you digging cans as well, aluminum cans?
yep, yep. Aluminum cans,
Mm.
beer tops, um, a whole bunch
Hmm.
of those, what are the mustard and ketchup packets? They drive me nuts.
Those drive me nuts because I get those on the beach because every time I go beach hunting, and if you're up in the dry sand, you're going to find a lot of that if you're digging for your gold because that's a lower signal. And if you're wanting to find those thin gold chains or thin gold rings, you got to dig that stuff.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
anyway, Ohio Relic Hunter Bill wants to know, uh, Amanda, if you can sift the area.
So I took a couple of the feedback from last week. So the one excavation site that's actually already been excavated and has giant piles, I did do a bit of that this past week. I did find lots and lots of square nails, probably the smallest oxen shoe I have ever seen, but nothing good yet. And then we had rain that filled an entire Home Depot bucket in like a few hours. And so I went back to that site after it rained because I was like, awesome, it can clear things. Like you'll find marbles and pottery and porcelain. You know how the dirt just seems to wash off items like that. I went
Yeah.
back and use a little bit of I Spy while I was detecting, and some of the area looked solid and good, and that's where I was walking. And then I went to go cross to another area, and it was like quicksand, the dirt, because of how much water was absorbed. So I don't think I'll be sifting there until some of that dries. But yeah, hopefully,
Gotcha.
yeah. So it was a great idea, and was able to do a good portion of different sections, and I do plan on doing some more. And then hopefully this new site, I'm gonna talk to him because I'm going to show him what I found and kind of explain, all right, this stuff that we had found prior, if you're pulling that out, can we sift the piles? Um,
Yeah.
kind of be proactive instead of trying to find, where did you put that dirt? This, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, because you pulled some really old, amazing stuff out of there. But you said you just pulled a ring out of there as well.
Yeah.
What kind of ring was it?
Actually, it's just the ring came from the site that's not excavated yet. And I'm not really sure how old it is. It looks like it's copper and has some kind of either a purple stone or a black stone in it. But I'm pretty sure it's like not I'd say costume jewelry, but it back then but I don't know. There's no markings in it, so I'm not really sure how old it is. Nothing as fancy as yours. You want to tell everyone about your ring and
A ring, a ring of dings, my rings. Yeah, so most all of you already know that I went to Utah last week, and we filmed for another episode of Beyond Oak Island. And then after, I got to go metal detect with my buddy Terry Carter. Now I know that Wayne, Nugget Brain Wayne in chat, he knows Terry Carter, and I actually met Terry Carter years ago when I went to Colorado to the Mancos Colorado treasure hunt rendezvous with that Nugget Brain Wayne puts on every year up there. And that's how I met Terry Carter. But anyway, Terry Carter has a YouTube channel, so be sure and check out his YouTube channel if y'all haven't already. He does a lot of stuff, kind of like he goes for like the big treasures stories
caches.
and the big caches, and he also a lot of misplaced archaeology, if you will. Those weird things that, like people finding, like my Roman coin, finding it in the U.S. and also like people finding, a lot of Egyptian stuff in the U.S. and just all kinds of different stuff like that. So y'all should definitely check out his YouTube channel. But anyway, long story short, after we finished filming, I was there on July the 4th, and so we were looking for some places to go metal detect, and he brought me to one that day. We had an interview, and him and I both had our interview one right after the other, but we had the first part of the day off. So he said, well, I know a place that we're still going to have to get up early and drive over there and to be able to change in time for our interview for Beyond. And anyway, so we went to what we think are some old Spanish ruins, part of some old Spanish ruins. And it looks like later on, someone had tried to add on to this. We tried to metal detect around this. Unfortunately, it is littered by the modern day, not the kind of trash what we're used to finding in the parks and like what you were digging earlier, like, pull tabs and stuff, but bullet casings. Hunters out there was, there was like a million of these things. So by the time we just got busy metal detecting, and I dug a rivet, and that was about it. And then it was time that we had to head back and for the rest of our filming. So we were looking for some places to go metal detect the next day, and it happened to be 4th of July. And the thing is the rivers, like the river that I metal detect on the Guadalupe, is always crowded on the big holidays like that. And when we first got there, it wasn't very crowded, but not long after, boom, it's like everybody there, everybody was there. And so there were kayaks and floaters on rafts and you name it, inner tubes and stuff floating down the river. So this river is probably a little colder because we're talking snow melted, colder than, and the Guadalupe, if you've ever been to the Guadalupe, it is a cold river. But anyway, we I didn't have my water submersible because we weren't really planning on. I had no idea I was going to be river hunting when I got there because he had some other places in mind, but because it was the 4th of July, where we weren't able to go. So yeah, Wayne, unfortunately I didn't get to do the PKU, try it out because I had no clue that I was going to be river hunting. And we were there to film anyway the first part of the week. So it just happened to be that he told me about this river just right up the road from him. So we went up the river and he was trying out the new Goldmaster 24K that Garrett sent me. And we were let him use that in the river, although it's not fully water submersible like the AT Pro or the AT Max or the, my other machines. So what I did is I used my Apex and he used the new Garrett White's gold 24 karat Gold Master. And anyway, we had a lot of fun, but we were trying to find shallow areas to hit because, we didn't have our fully water submersible stuff with it. So anyway, long story short, we got in and we started finding a few things, nothing too exciting or anything. And we decided to go down to a different part of the river. And I just got in and went down a ways. He went the opposite way. And boom, with my Apex, I got this signal. Well, a lot of the signals, I usually just use my hand to kind of dig down. But this one I couldn't get up. So I took out my little hand digger and pushed the rocks away and dug down, and I pulled out this plastic bag. And then I noticed the plastic bag has leeches all over it. It was gross. And I was truly thankful that I had on my gloves at that time. So there was leeches all over this bag, but then I noticed there was something shiny in the bag. And so I hollered over to Terry and waved my metal detector, waved him to come over. So he came over, and I set the bag down on a rock, and then I said, "Hey, can you video for me?" So he took his camera and my camera, and he's videoing me with this bag, and so I can see that there's something shiny in there that looks like a watch. It looks like it's pretty big, and so I'm getting all excited. So I dump this bag over on the rock, and out pops this watch. Well, there's a lot of dirt and gravel and stuff down in there, and I kind of push it aside, and I see something else shiny, and I'm like, oh! And then as if you watch the video, because I know you've seen it or part of it, I posted it on TikTok and Instagram, and I'm like, oh, jackpot. I'm getting all excited because there was 2 rings and a watch in this bag in the river. Well, if you have already watched my video, one of the rings is looks like rubies possibly in it, with maybe some tiny little diamonds in there as well, and it is 10-karat white gold. And then the other the other ring is silver. With
So
It
awesome.
looks like maybe it might be um, I should just sorry, I can't help but laugh. You're probably right, Bill. So, Bill, if you're not in
Oh,
chat, Bill, the reason why I'm laughing is Bill's talking about, yeah, the leeches must have been feasting on a severed hand in the bag. So you're probably right. But it didn't leave any bones behind, so I think we're all good there. But but yes,
Ah,
those leeches were so gross. Oh, they were everywhere on the bag. There must have been at least 10 leeches, at least. It was gross.
that is gross.
But anyway, nevertheless, it was worth it to dig in that bag of leeches and grossness to find my treasures,
They were
my
guarding
2
it.
rings and a watch. They were guarding the treasure, but uh, anyway, so yeah, that was one of my highlights. Of course, it was a fun highlight, getting to film again with the Beyond Oak Island crew. But the good news is that I'm leaving tomorrow again for another adventure. Tomorrow I am going to El Paso, Texas, which I know some of you think, oh, that's not that far. It's in Texas, but Texas, again, is a big state, so they're flying me in. And so in order to fly in to film this time, Garrett actually sent me the big Treasure Hound 2-box metal detector. And so I did not have a bag that would fit that long rod that holds the 2-box coils.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go out and buy me a bag, and I looked and I could not find a 40-inch bag for anything. So I ended up buying this duffel bag that has, I even looked at golf bags because I thought golf bag will work. I looked at golf bags, but I ended up buying it's a 36-inch duffel bag that has the rollers on the bottom so I can roll it. And what I did is, the reason why I bought this bag is I noticed while I was sitting there looking at these bags going, none of these are going to work because it's not long enough. But you know how duffel bags, like you can squeeze things in them and it pushes the canvas or
Oh,
whatever.
yep.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So it squeezed up about 40 inches to where it really does fit in mine. So it fits inside the duffel bag, and I still have loads of room in this thing. This thing is massive.
That's awesome.
So basically what I'm doing is I'm packing for 2 trips. I'm packing to go film for this episode. So I've got 3 metal detectors packed. I've got the 2-box and 2 apexes. And I started to bring a water machine, but you know what? The apex I can still get. I've gotten in the surf at the beach too. And so I decided against fully water submersible this time. I'm just going to get in the shallow. I'll be fine because last time I found plenty of rings, plenty of cool stuff, jewelry and stuff with my apex on the beach. It does so well in that multi-salt mode. So I don't even think I'm going to bother packing an extra detector. So anyway, I've got my water scoop, or my sand scoop, and I've got a shovel packed in there, along with clothes for filming and clothes for the beach. So after we finish filming, they are flying me out that afternoon to the beach. And anyway, it should be Another fun adventure. So I'm excited about filming again. And just a reminder, I know a lot of people have been asking me when these will air. They're supposed to air sometime in November. We don't have the actual dates yet, but sometime in November on the History Channel for Beyond Oak Island. So now don't get that confused with The Curse of Oak Island. I'm not going to the island.
So,
But
quick
it is
question.
involved with the, yeah.
Is it going to be the History Plus channel or the History channel? So I know I get the
Good
right
question.
subscription.
Just the History Channel. Unless they
Perfect.
come out with a History Plus like Discovery did, it's just the History Channel.
Good.
So,
All right.
Anyway, it'll be fun. We'll have to do a watch party or something and then talk about it the next podcast or something, the adventures. But here's the thing. Now, I already told Amanda this, but for our listeners, so the problem that I found with the first 2 episodes is I just didn't have enough time to metal detect. And so I told the director producer this time, I said, hey, can you fly me in a day early before we start filming, and I'll metal detect the whole area this time, and I can flag my targets because, they don't want us, they have to have you dig it. It has to be like a live dig because, people could say, hey, you're faking it. And this is a reality show. Nothing's faked or anything like that. So anyway, this time what they're going to do is they're going to let me flag it. And then that way, when it comes to the next day, when we start filming, I'll be able to go over there, pull the flag out, and then now I don't know if they're going to show the flags, but y'all will know, heads up. I don't know how much of this I'm supposed to be showing anybody, but I don't want to get in trouble, but I think it's okay to tell y'all that.
On Oak Island, they show the flags.
Do they? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool.
I think it's the only one I've seen in a while was, they showed flags, and then they'd go over and they'd detect it again to get the pinpoint to know where to dig. But I remember them pulling the flag, and I remember looking, you look in the background and there's a bunch of flags. So I'm like, oh, I'll get to that one. We were trying to take guesses on them.
Now, Nugget Brain, Wayne had just said put a rock on the spot. Yeah, on the last episode, they let me kind of go ahead, but it was just, I barely had a few minutes to swing the detector while they were filming another part, and I barely had a few minutes. So the 2 hits I got, I put rocks on them. But this time I'll be able to cover a full area because the problem with the rocks were there might not be enough rocks in the area to pile up for an area, or there's rocks everywhere and you don't know which rock was the one that so, and that's a good thing. Wayne just said too about GPS installed. There are a few metal detectors that have a GPS installed. For me, I'm not that, I do good knowing that the technology of my metal detectors. I don't know how well I'd do with a GPS, but it is a good idea for a large area like where we were in Utah. It would have been perfect for that, I think, to have a GPS for that because it was just too much area. But I just didn't, I barely had like 15, 20 minutes to go metal detect, and it just wasn't enough time. So hopefully this time I will, I'll be there the day before, and what I'll do is I will cover the area with 2 different metal detectors, and there will be a guy there that's doing ground penetrating radar as well. So if he gets any hits on that, what I'll do is I'll go back over those areas too with the treasure hound 2-box and see if I can pick it up. We can see how deep it is. And anyway, so excited about that. It should be a fun adventure, and so hoping to really find some goodies this time.
And we have to wait till November.
I know, right? It's been funny because I've been getting like these phone calls from California and some from New York, and I'm like, when I don't recognize the phone number, I'm like, okay, I got to get this because I have a feeling it's the producers here or the directors. And sure enough, they've got a question about, okay, what metal detector were you using in this thing, or tell me about the technology on that. How deep will it go? You know, the famous question, how deep will that detector pick up, you know? So you have to explain. Anyway, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and this will probably be the last episode. We were trying to get one more episode in, but it looks like they didn't want to wait that late for the property to open up for some sort of something to I can't explain it, but anyway, contract or something. So anyway, it'll probably be all for this season. So it's been a lot of fun, but I will be happy to get to the beach in Florida and just relax on the beach and swing my detector and be my own little world with my headphones on. And
I totally get it.
Although, you know, when you're on the beach metal detecting, as some of you know that detect the beaches, you get stopped. I don't know how often. What are you doing? What are you looking for? You know, that kind of thing. So, what are you finding?
You don't even have to be metal detecting. So I found quite often, especially recently, people will stop. What are you looking for when I'm on the beach doing the mudlarking and stuff? You know,
stuff,
things.
Stuff and things. I'm looking for stuff and things.
The best stuff and things.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, that is pretty much it about my story. Other than that, I didn't get out this after I got back from filming because it was raining, and then after it finally cleared up, I was too busy packing and trying to get ready for two trips that I just haven't had a chance. So anyway, but I'm all packed, ready to go. Tomorrow my son is driving me to the airport, so we should be good to go.
That's great.
Anyway.
On to another adventure that we will know nothing about for forever. I'm like, hey, at least it's something to look forward to, you know, in November when it's not the greatest out.
That's true for a lot of people like you and a lot of our friends that live north. It'll probably be snow covered by then.
You bite your tongue. Don't you dare say it.
I know. Anyway, we still need to plan our trip for maybe September now is what we're thinking. We're going to have September and October.
It's just going to be, whatever.
Well, it'll be what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I understand, you know, but you get on a show. I would do the same. Sorry, we're going to have to postpone. Yep. especially to get to dig those areas that you know you normally wouldn't get to is pretty exciting. So I'm
Right.
really, I have my fingers crossed for you that you find some pretty amazing things when you get there.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited. Um, Now, Dee just mentioned, yeah, I know we've been trying to plan for a while too. She was talking about coming to Texas to visit. So I think this winter, what all of you need to do, that when it gets cold up there and we're still having like weather in the 70s, y'all just need to fly into Texas and we'll just go on some adventures. We can plan a big metal detecting something. Everybody come down here and visit me in Texas.
Yeah. It looks like Bill has a question for you. So, have you had any
Okay.
weird experiences with TSA with all the traveling and gear you've been crossing the country with? It's a good question.
That is a good question. Fortunately, usually I fly with Southwest, so I check my bags, so I haven't had any problems with that. I think some of you have already heard my one experience where I had accidentally left a pinpointer in my bag, and this guy kept claiming, you can't bring a tool on the plane that's over so many inches, and he kept calling it a tool, and it says clearly on there, Garrett metal detectors, you know. I think it was because of the color of it being the orange pinpointer, and I know a lot of tools are like either yellow or orange and stuff like that, so I don't know exactly what he thought it was. And then finally he checked with somebody else and they go, oh, and he came back and apologized to me. So that was the one thing that I had an issue with. But most of the time what I do is I check all my bags. That way I don't have, any, I've never had any issues that way. And I know that some people have had, so better not say this. I don't want to jinx myself, but problems with bags getting lost or not getting put on the plane or not arriving. So knock on wood.
I'm knocking for you.
Okay. I have not had that happen to me yet. So let's hope that doesn't happen this time. But I have got a question for our listeners. Usually I fly Southwest. Now, the flight up there is Southwest, so I know I can check 2 bags free. But the flight going from there to Florida I'm flying, oh my gosh, what am I flying? Let me look up the airline real quick. United. I think I remember that they allow 2 free check bags as well. But if anyone knows, could you please let us know in chat? I need to double check. I guess I should have already double checked that. But if anyone flies United, let us know and drop your comment in chat. Because I'm hoping I don't have to pay. Although they did say that if there was any receipts to save them, and they would reimburse me. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I knocked on wood. Hopefully everything goes smoothly through TSA
And nobody knows?
Airports.
Nobody knows?
I don't. I'm trying to think. I think what was the last time I brought my detector? I think I did it in Delta.
Now, you check yours or
no
carry on?
I take it apart and put it in my carry-on.
What do they do about the shovel, though? Things have changed.
I didn't actually have, I did the sand scoop and just chose not to do the shovel. Where I was going was beachy. Beachy.
Beachy.
Yep.
Okay, I'm looking it up. None of the airlines, because nobody knows. Bill says he hasn't flown since 1992. And others are saying they don't fly either. So, airlines.
See, if you could carve like a week out to travel there, then you could, stop at the different places on the way. I think that's why we've driven a lot.
Okay. Uh-oh, we got a United Airlines baggage calculator. That doesn't sound good.
No. So wait, are you taking Southwest and it's a connecting flight or?
So no, I'm flying up Southwest, but apparently they didn't have any Southwest flights on the way to Florida when I'm flying back from what do you call it? Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once, and I can't. But anyway, I love flying Southwest because you get 2 free carry-ons and 2 checked free. So that's what I love about that. Size and weight limits for checked bags. Oh, they could be 62 inches long. Wow. This includes and handles and wheels. Most are checked bags, can weigh, depends on the cabin. It's not as straightforward, of course, as Well, I guess I'll have to research that a little more. Okay.
Well, do you want to get going? See,
Anyway.
I know you have more you need to pack.
Yeah, folks, we're going to cut this thing a little short tonight. I still got a few more things to make sure and double check. Oh, one other thing I did want to mention, I am bringing the new, it's a new carbon fiber shaft I'm going to try on my Apex that I got at the Oklahoma Red Dirt Treasure Shootout. And if you've watched my very last video, you can find out how to get your own. He also makes handles for scoops as well, for sand scoops. So if you're in need of anything like that, be sure and check that out and see what he has to offer, because he makes them for not only the Garretts, he makes them for all brands of metal detectors. So if you're looking to, he's got some great prices on those. And it's also good, like if you have different coils, so you could buy the shaft, but then buy the bottom parts of the shaft to fit on your other coils and just switch out your bottom part and not have to mess with changing out your coils each time. So that's something that you can think about doing too. So be sure and check out my latest video, and that has the information of how to contact Steve for those. So you all, thanks again. I appreciate you all for listening to me ramble tonight about the trip. And I wish you all happy hunting and all your new adventures. And again, when things do slow down, hopefully, some of you can get to Texas to come visit. And then we've got to get Amanda here, too. So I don't know how many vacations she's allowed to take.
Yeah.
Amanda gets fired.
Well, if I win Powerball, maybe I won't have to worry about that anymore.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, if I win, I'll share. I'll share with everybody. All right, y'all. Y'all all, thanks again for listening, and y'all have a wonderful evening. Good night, all.